Oh my god, am I really going to have to like explain this thing? So over the last few days on Spectrum, there's been this back and forth about these Corsair adjustments. After reading many very inflammatory posts between thinking that the PvE ship is finally going to be knocked down or that people shouldn't make any kind of adjustment, I actually wanted to take a look at the side by side and see what it is that we're looking at. I think the findings will actually show that there's a lot to be added to the conversation, because it's not just about a ship having too many weapons or a ship needing adjustment. It's actually the way the thing operates and its purpose inside the game. For full transparency, I don't solo my Corsair. I don't solo Akani. Almost all the decisions that I make are based off of what the group is doing. Now, if CIG wants to incentivize group gameplay, give you something to use your hammerhead for, give you a reason to go grind bunkers with a group, great. But as it stands right now, there's no reason whatsoever to group up and do anything in this game. Instead of grinding these bunkers 100 times, you're going to have to grind them 5,000 times because you have 5 people in your group. Based off of the store page, these are all listed as explorers. When you take a look at the size, function, crew, these are the ones that actually you can use to make this comparison. So now we're going to be running through what the website has for each of these ships. This would be everything from their components to their missiles and everything else. What I'm showing is that I'm getting the information directly from CIG, and then I'll also be using Urkel to do these comparisons, but I'm just providing visual representation of what it is that we'll be talking about. So now this is where the proof in the pudding stuff actually kind of comes down to play. When you take a look at each of these things compared side by side, while there's a deviation in crew size, I think the Aquila and the Phoenix should probably be crew size of 4 or 5. Most of the stats generally stay the same between pitch, yaw, roll, looking at the nav speed, looking at the SCM speed. The offset here would be the Aquila, which has a 988 max nav speed. Where it starts to get really interesting is further on down the line, and this is at the point where we start talking about hit points. So the Corsair has 91,000 hit points, the Aquila has 180,000 hit points, the Phoenix 161, and then the 400i 80,000. While the shield size remains the same based off of Urkel, it actually looks like this is where the deviations actually start, and this is where you're making those decisions. And those decisions being, am I going for more pilot controlled DPS? Am I going for better turrets? Am I going for style and luxury? The way this adjustment is going, the numbers for the turrets on both the Aquila and the Phoenix will go up simply because they're upgrading those turrets from size 2 to size 3. The changes for the Corsair will be that the pilot will control 2 less size 5s, and then the co-pilot in the Corsair is going to have to make the decision, does he choose between 2 forward-facing 2 size 5s or a 360 rotational size 2. And then the other interesting thing here to look at is the missiles. The 400i has the most missile DPS, followed by the Aquila, Phoenix, then we come down to the Corsair. These are things to actually kind of take into consideration, because it's not just pilot controlled DPS when it comes to the guns, it's also the DPS when it comes to the missiles. And the other interesting thing is, take a look at these IR signatures. This is incredibly telling. The Corsair will be visible from a lot further distance than it will with these other ships. So now I'm going to actually show you footage from inside the cockpit of the ships, where the turrets are located, and then going to go into the coverage. Now I'm starting with the 400i because this is the outlier. This is the one that isn't bristling with a bunch of guns. It has guns, it has turrets, but the other thing is missiles. And when you take a look at this turret coverage, the top turret in the back almost allows 360 view. The one on the bottom allows 360 view from underneath it, meaning that at any point in time, if all stations are crewed, this ship actually has 360-degree coverage, utilizing 3 people in 3 different seats. Now, the Connie, I did something a little bit different with. Obviously, they're built generally about the same, but when you take a look at turret coverage, the Aquila is not going to have that turret on the top. So I will show top coverage, and then I'll show bottom coverage. The result from this is essentially when you're picking up that extra scanning suite from the Aquila, you are giving up your ability to have that top turret. The bottom turret, however, as you can kind of see right here, actually provides that full 360 underneath. The Aquila is not as well protected, however the Constellation Phoenix does have pretty much full 360 degree protection around this ship if all of the seats were manned. The issue with this ship is almost everything it has firepower wise is facing either forward or to the side. As I get into this turret, you can see that there's limited range when it comes to where this thing can fire. Towards the front, you can actually get a firing solution, once again forward facing, but when it comes to the side and to the back and the top, you're really kind of limited with these side turrets. Now, the interesting thing, however, is the top turret allows for 360 degree coverage from the top of the ship, not all the way around the ship. If you have this ship fully manned and fully gunned as it is right now, you will not be able to provide any kind of coverage to this backside back here. Everything in this ship is facing forward. And the other issue that this ship faces is crew seats. There is no way you can allow the slaving to that top turret to any other seat but the co-pilot, because there's not any seats to be had. And before people start arguing about, well, the reclaimer's this way, this is that way, I'm not here to make the argument that more seats need to be added. I'm talking about the way that this ship was designed. This ship was designed to be everything forward facing. The negative aspects of it is going to be that you're not going to have coverage in the back. The co-pilot will now have to either figure out how to quickly find the buttons, hotkey them, whatever, to go from being able to protect the back or protecting the front. But essentially, this is the issue when it comes down to having that co-pilot seat take multiple different roles. There's no crew stations like the other ones. They have 3 seats sitting up there. Your gunners are going to be your co-pilots. Or for the Connies, you have co-pilot seats and then the gunners are independent. I think what has to be taken a look at here is that this thing was designed for a specific purpose, and the seats aren't there to facilitate that adjustment. Alright, so now I'm going to kind of conclude my findings. Now, these findings are not based off of what's in a test universe that's not been formally committed to the patch or anything else like that. This is the results as they are right now. I'm actually going to kind of go in reverse order here. 400i, where it wins. It is a very pretty ship. It's impressive, it's got luxury, it has those amenities and views. It has the capability for a rover, it has the capability for the bike, and this ship is designed with that luxury type exploration in mind. You and a couple of friends want to go tool around, and you're not really looking at getting dirty, you're just going out there and trying to do it in style. That's where this thing kind of shines. And a couple other like high points for the 400i. This thing comes with 32 missiles. It has 16 size 2s and 16 size 1s. It actually makes this thing kind of nice, but it's not going to be that offensive powerhouse. This is a reasonable turret, reasonable forward guns, and a healthy size of missiles. If this is your gameplay style, and this is the kind of thing that you'd like to do, by all means, grab the 400i. And then we're going to roll on to the Aquila. A couple of finer points about the Aquila. This thing does come with an Ursa rover. I do not believe it comes with the snub ship. However, it does have the capability of supporting the snub ship. You're taking a look at giving up one of those turrets for a healthy radar suite or scanning suite. This thing does have 24 size 2 missiles, making it a little bit kind of healthy as well when it comes to the missile capabilities, and it's got those forward facing guns that you can have size 5s on. The ship can almost defend itself with full coverage. However, this thing is in mind for those people who are kind of going out there and doing the real scientific style exploration. This isn't luxury. This is going out and getting the data, getting the numbers, and of course it does have the capability of defending itself. And next we got Constellation Phoenix. They're comparing it to the Andromeda. The Andromeda has more missiles. However, when it comes to this thing, I am not calling this an exploration ship. This is what CIG has done. They have said this is an exploration ship, so I'm using this as the comparison. Now the pros. This thing still does have, I believe it's 28 size 1 missiles. So not all of the missiles are gone, just some of them. This thing has 2 turrets, one top, one bottom, that will allow it for 360 degree coverage when it comes to protection. And it has those pilot controlled weapons. This thing comes with the Lynx rover. This thing comes with the snub fighter. If you're going to be doing exploration and you want to do that safari style, bougie, glamping style exploration, this is your ship. This ship is kind of like your prospector. Not in the Misk Prospector type, but like panning for gold type. This is your gold rush ship. This is your dude working in the wilderness ship. It has no bells, it has no whistles, it has no rovers, has no snubs, it has forward facing guns. And that's it. It has the 4 size 5s that are controlled by the pilot, 2 size 4s that are controlled by the pilot. After that, the turrets get sketchy. You have 3 turrets with size 2s, and only one of them are actually able to shoot to the back. While I'm not saying this thing should not be adjusted, I think the adjustment that they're looking at might not be well conceived, because at any point in time, if this thing was fully crewed and engaged in combat, all of its turrets cannot be engaged at the same time.